Today we have a speaker, Abhimanyu Swaroop, who is doing MS in Data Science in Columbia University. So now to talk more about Metallurgy department, I'll be handing over to Abhimanyu.
Hello guys. Uh, I recently completed my graduation from IIT Madras in Metallurgical Materials Engineering. I did my BTech, and currently I'm just started my degree in data science at Columbia University. So I'll be talking about the branch Metallurgy and Materials Engineering, and I'll talk about what people usually think of the branch and what it actually is. Because you guys just gave JE, right? You might have studied extractive metallurgy, but material science and metallurgy is not really what you studied in your 11th and 12th. That's a very big misconception that people have. It's totally different. So when you study metallurgical and materials engineering, you study about like microstructures, the FCC and BCC, cell structures. You also study about like non-metals, polymers, the electronic materials, and stuff like that. It's more related to it's at a mixture of physics and chemistry. It's you'll study more about like uh, how do I put it? It's more about like being able to determine a material's properties and stuff like that using the microstructures. So and sure, extractive metallurgy does have a part in your syllabus, but it's barely anything. It's just like you'll have to do about 2 or 3 courses in extractive metallurgy, and then after that, it's just based on electives that you want to do. So judging the branch based just on what you know in the 11th, 12th is not a good idea. Apart from that, um, the branch itself, it's very versatile. Like I mentioned, electronic materials. It's basically a mixture of uh, electrical and material science. And then you have biomaterials where you can like learn about implants and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff like that. There's also a mixture of computation and material science where you can run simulations. You can also work on machine learning and artificial intelligence if that's something that interests you. And there's like a lot of research opportunities in the branch. You could talk to like the professors in the branch, take up research projects under them, and I'm pretty sure there's a project for every single one of you. Because since the branch is so versatile, you could basically work if you want to go into like characterization, there's a professor for that. If you want to go into like machine learning, you can ask a professor to give you a project where you can work on the machine learning aspect of it. If you want to say go into electronics, electrical, then you can work on electrical materials. So I mean research plays a very big role, and the branch itself it is designed more to be oriented towards research rather than um it's oriented more towards research. And well, coming to the placements part of it, there aren't really a lot of core job placements, and that's mostly because students do not prefer going into the core field. And there have been core companies coming previously, but that does depend on the student's interest. If you're interested, the placement team will try to get core companies for you. But if you want to go non-core, such as say consulting, finance, analytics, or something like that, then basically your branch plays no role in it. It's just that you need to take up relevant electives, do relevant projects, and you need to work towards building a profile on your own. There's that nothing that your branch will hold you back or something. So for non-core, it is what you make of it. And while for core, people usually who are interested in core, go for further studies and they move to the United States or they move to Europe. Um, and then they do their masters, and then they take up a job in the sector. So I don't. I mean, apart placement statistics is something that you shouldn't really go by, because that depends on your branch, and it depends on your cohort that year. It varies a lot from year to year, and that's what I've noticed. Since a branch is really really small, you can't really look at statistics and be like, someone got a very good package, so that doesn't mean you might get it, or someone got a very bad package, that doesn't mean that you might be the person getting the bad package. It just depends on what you make out of it.
Yeah, okay. So, what are the higher study opportunities in the core field? So, are there many options abroad? Or?
There are a lot of options abroad. So over here, material science is like a very big field. You Most people who are interested, they go for like masters or PhDs, and I mean there are a lot of job opportunities here as well. So you can always go abroad, and that's what a lot of students do. If that's what something you're interested in, then you should just work work towards doing more research. And once you do more research, you'll build a profile that, like, once you do research, you'll have a nice profile that shows your interest in the department, and using that you could like start applying for masters and PhD programs and get into one of them.
Okay, okay. So, how easy is it to get to non-core being in metallurgy department?
So non-core really does not depend on your branch.
Okay,
It's just what you make out of it. It's just you working towards a goal. So if you want a job in finance, you just take up finance courses, learn finance on your own, set for the finance company, take up projects so that like you have relevant experience on your uh, resume, and you apply for that company. Same goes for any other field such as analytics, uh, say consulting. You just need to show relevant experience, get shortlisted, and you should know what you're applying for.
okay, okay. Okay, there's a question in the chat. Is metallurgy subjective as inorganic chemistry, or does it have application stuff as majority?
So it is kind of subjective, but then it is a combination of physics and chemistry. So there are parts where you need to like, it's like in organic chemistry, you need to know stuff to like know it. There's no way to like derive it out of it. But then you have stuff where, say, you have equations that you solve, like it's basically like it's between it's on a sweet spot between chemistry and physics, where you have to know stuff and you need to know how to like solve stuff, and it's like application based.
Yeah, okay, okay. So, there's another question. After taking metallurgy, do we have enough time and scope to develop skills in computer science to compete with CSE people in placements?
You definitely have a lot of time for that. So apart from that, you also do a CS course initially in your first semester, so you get to know basic programming. And since you know basic programming, you can take up electives in the CS department. One thing I did not mention before is that the department has a lot of free electives. Free electives are basically something like you can take any course that you like. It can be from any department. It can be on any topic. You can just take it and study about what you want to learn. So I personally did that. I took up courses in the other departments and learned about what I wanted. So I mean, you guys can also do the same thing.
Yeah, okay. Could you also maybe give a gist of the IEEE option that people have?
So yeah, there IEEE is for students after to like people apply to IEEE after the fifth semester. In IEEE, basically there are, I think, about 6 to 7 branches, and you can basically stay. If you're a 4-year student, you can stay 1 year after 1 year extra, and if you're a 5-year student, you can convert your dual degree in metallurgy to an IEEE degree. And what happens is after your 5th semester, you apply for an IEEE, and if it's based on your Cgpa. So if you get selected, you basically get a master's degree in the IEEE program. So say if I applied in robotics, so once I get selected, my core courses that semester onwards will include robotics courses as well. So I'll take up those courses, and at the end of my 5th year, I'll get a degree in a bachelor's degree in material science and a master's degree in robotics. And I mean, there are more programs in IEEE, such as quantum physics. There's one on nanoparticles. There's one in data science. There's one in computation, and there's robotics. There's one in energy as well.
Okay. There's another question. Are there software or IT companies that don't allow Meta branch students to sit for placements?
There are companies that do not allow Meta branch students to sit, but then those companies, they're not biased against Meta. They just prefer Elec or CS. So it's not that only Meta is getting excluded out of it. It's basically every branch other than electrical and CS are getting excluded.
Yeah, and also could you give just about the minor option? Like there are minors that we can do in other departments, right?
Yes. So for minors, basically, there's a set of courses that are given for each minor. And what happens is once you complete at least 4 courses from the list that's given, you can apply for a minor. But that happens only after you have completed all courses. You won't get any special preference for the courses if you want to do a minor. But if you manage to complete all 4 courses, you can just apply and get a minor along with your degree. Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. So people, do we have any other questions? If yes, you could put it in the chat right now regarding the department or something.
I think I see one more question about me doing a minor. I did not do a minor in AI or ML. I just did my bachelor's in material science, and that's it.
Okay, now there's a question. What is the scope for computational materials engineering?
So there is a lot of scope. I personally know a lot of my batchmates who are doing computational materials engineering. I guess that's mostly because of the COVID batch, but yeah, I have personally worked on computational materials engineering, and um, it, there are a lot of professors. I mean, I think there are like 6 professors that will work on building simulations using Python, or they use other softwares to do simulations, and they work on machine learning projects. So if you want to get into computational materials engineering, there is a very good scope at IIT Madras.
Okay, there's another question. Is BTech in metallurgy enough to get placed in a good company, or do we have to do masters?
So most people, they take off for placements after metallurgy, and I mean, good placement is very subjective to what you want. So I think if you like go, there aren't. I mentioned before that there aren't a lot of core companies that come, but if you want to get into non-core, then your branch doesn't really play a role. You can go into a non-core company, and if you want to go into a core, you could try talking to the placement cell and getting core companies that placement season, and you could always go for a master's, because that's what most people do for if they want to get into a core.
Okay, okay, so great. So if I want to go for MS in USA, so what are the steps to take for it?
So if you want to go for a master's, I'll talk about the general route people take, but then there are other routes as well. So generally what happens is people, uh, they work on research projects with professors, they build a research-based profile, and then uh, in their final year, they apply for masters to the United States. And once they get in, I mean, most of them do end up getting in, and then they come over here. It's basically people working on research projects and stuff like that. During summers, they take up summer research projects. During the semester, they work on research projects on their side. And also, you need to maintain a good CGPA for that.
Yeah, okay. So what is the scope for material science in terms of research? I guess it was already answered, but maybe you could reiterate it just in a line.
So, I mean, the branch itself is very research oriented at this point, and you can. I feel that, I, like I mentioned before, it's there's not a lot of placement that happens in India. So most people who are interested in the branch, they go abroad, and if they want to do research, they go for PhDs directly after the bachelor's, and sometimes if they want to do just a master's degree, they come for a master's degree here, and then there are a lot of opportunities here itself.
Okay, there was another question. What opportunities are there to do internships in the second year and third year's summers?
So for second year summers, if you want to do an internship, you'll have to find an internship on your own. It could be anything, since you're finding it on your own by like mailing companies or dropping a resume to them. For third year internships, we have an internship season where, yeah, the internship cell of IIT Madras, they'll get companies and you can apply via portal, and it's a lot more structured. It starts in August. So over there also, there might be branch restrictions, but it's again, it's like they won't just exclude Meta out of anything.
Okay, these internships, are there internships even for the core? I mean, there are the other core internships available?
So as a part of your curriculum, you need to do an core internship, and the professors will help you get a core internship if you can't find a core internship on your own. So you do get to experience the core sector in India.
Could you just maybe name one or two companies in the core field, I mean, for core internships?
So there's L&T, there's Tata Steel, there's Vedanta.
Okay, yeah, great. So I guess, yeah, people, do you have any other doubts, or else I guess we can wrap up?
Okay, I think there was another question. What would be a good CGPA score? I think many people misunderstand it. Like people, once they get into IIT, they don't understand the importance of CGPA, and also, could you shed a light on that?
So I feel anything above 8, you are safe for placements, because the placements cutoffs, they usually are at 8 for any company. It's usually at 8. And if you want to go abroad, I would say 8.5 is a decent CGPA. Ideally, you should be above 9, but I myself wasn't above 9 and I did just fine. So above 8.5 if you want to go abroad, above 8 if you want to sit for placements.
On a daily, okay, another question is on daily basis, how much time you usually devote to ACADS?
So that's a tough question, because I mean, there's no fixed amount of time that I devoted every day. But it was something. Whatever was covered in the class that day was like studied the same day. So, and how much ever time that took, maybe 2 hours, I guess, a day, 2 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah, I feel that question is very subjective, depends on their electives and all.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on the coursework I'm doing, because no two people in the class have the same coursework.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, so Ranish, is there anything else, or can we wrap up, Ranish?
Yeah, I think we can wrap up. I think there aren't any more questions. So thank you, Abhimanyu, for coming up and shedding light on
Yes,
metallurgy department. So there are many misconceptions and all, especially if they are planning to go for non-core. So thank you shedding light on that. It was a great information.
thank you.
So if you guys want to have one-on-one branch counseling, do register in Tensors. So in that we do have different consultants from IIT Madras and other colleges who will guide you to one-on-one counseling on how to arrange your JOSA, how to fill your choices in JOSA, and from starting to getting into at IIT Madras, we will be guiding you for that process. So do check out our option in Tensors.